often we're not in the mood for sex and we read something that's erotic or we see an erotic movie and then we become in the mood. And you know why that's so interesting? People wait to get turned on. That is a huge mistake. Some time ago, I had my own agony column in a women's magazine, Closer, and I was also the sex columnist for Cosmopolitan, and I had 2 different newspaper columns too, who would write to me a lot about sex. And I tended to get the same letters every week in a different format. How can I bring back the passion? The thrill has gone. I can't have orgasms. We used to have sex all the time for 2 years, and now we don't even have sex once a month. And people get very upset when their sex drive goes, or when, as Brian Ferry said, the thrill has gone. And what they often do to try and get it back is to have an affair. And when people have an affair, they're not actually looking for another person, they're looking for another experience. They want something new. And the reason they want something new is because eroticism and great sex are the enemy of intimacy, and intimacy is the enemy of great sex. Now that probably sounds completely weird to you because you think, I meet someone, I fall in love, the sex is amazing, then it's really not amazing, but we're in love, so it doesn't matter. That's actually not quite true. You see, what intimacy needs, what love needs, is this great thing about, I'm so in love, we're soulmates, we finish each other's sentences. I know when my partner's having a bad day without them speaking. We like the same things. We are one. We both like green pasta and box sets and snuggling in front of the fire. And we like one person. And that's a wonderful thing. That's what love requires, that trust, the safeness. I'm so safe with you, I can be myself. I can wander around without any makeup. I can wander around without having to make an effort, and I know you love the very soul of who I am. So I'm safe to express myself in bed, but actually that's not really working. And the reason it's not working is because eroticism requires something completely different. So love requires intimacy and safety. Eroticism requires thrill, mystery, drama, edginess. It's like when you watch a great film and you don't know the ending, it's exciting. When you know the ending, it's not so exciting. And when you're with someone for a long time, you know the ending. We have sex every Saturday morning and then go food shopping. Every Friday we go out to dinner and we always have sex, and it's always in bed and it's always the same. And so how can you have both? Here, this half of the room's got intimacy and love, and this half has got fantastic sex. Because when you're in a new relationship, you don't really know what's going to happen, and you do it all over the house, and you wear exciting underwear, and you make an effort. And the bridge that gives you both eroticism and erotic sex and intimacy is actually fantasy. And a lot of people say, I don't want to do fantasy. Isn't that cheating? Absolutely not. The sexiest organ is here. It's in the brain. And if I told you that fantastic sex requires newness, requires suspense, requires drama, requires a little bit of naughtiness or edginess, you say, but I've been with my partner for 25 years, how am I going to find that? Well, that's what fantasy does. And it doesn't mean you're pretending you're with Brad Pitt and being unfaithful to your partner. It just means trying something new. If you want to have a relationship that lasts for 40 years, you need to have sexual chemistry and best friend chemistry. You should be prepared to try your partner's fantasy as long as it's not painful or seriously weird. You should be prepared to try it. First of all, when your partner talks about the fantasy, don't laugh and go, oh, come on, I'm not doing that. Are you kidding? You want me to dress up in that? No, I've got cellulite, I'm not going to do it. Or men say, I'm not going to play that part. Like one of my clients said, I said to my husband, dominate me. And he said, how? What shall I do? She said, well, anything but that. I want you to take control. And he said, well, tell me what to do. She went, but that's not taking control. If I tell you what to do, I'm dominating you. So the first thing is to do something together. You know, often we're not in the mood for sex and we read something that's erotic or we see an erotic movie and then we become in the mood. And you know why that's so interesting? People wait to get turned on. That is a huge mistake. Talk to your partner about what they like and don't laugh at them. Don't roll your eyes and go, are you kidding? Because respecting the other person is really important. Try out their fantasy, try out yours. And if they really can't get it, then it is okay to have this whole fantasy going on in your head, because your partner cares more that you are multi-orgasmic than the fact that you're thinking about someone else or pretending you're Hiawatha on an Indian reservation or whatever works for you. They don't really mind, because you're not being unfaithful. You're having that new experience in your head. And remember, most people cheat because they want a new experience. And when many of them get caught out, they go, I never wanted to leave my partner. I had no intention of leaving my wife. I never wanted to leave my husband. I just wanted something new. I was so bored with being the mother of two or the father of two, and I wasn't having anything exciting going on, and I had an affair for some excitement. You can put that excitement into your relationship. You can make it exciting. You can make it exciting in many ways. And you know how I discovered this? I used to work with many people who were infertile or not fertile enough, and I was studying something, and I read, and it's absolutely true, that when a man has sex with a stranger, he triples the amount of sperm he produces. And when a woman has sex with a stranger, her whole cervix tilts to suck up sperm, because nature's very, very clear. Been with this person for 10 years, you must have made kids, but you're having a one-night stand with someone else, and the whole point is to pass on your genes. So I'm going to give you more sperm, make your cervix tilt, and then you'll pass on the gene pool. So with that information, I started to tell my clients who had fertility issues, you don't need IVF. You need to dress up as a pilot, a fireman. I mean, who cares? Whatever works for you. You need to have sex without speaking, which all the guys love. What, I don't have to speak to my wife? I can just come in when she's washing up and we can have sex in the kitchen? Yeah. If you want a baby, you need to do that. But you can also go to a bar or a hotel and meet, and unless you're really good at accents, don't speak. Because remember, you want to make 3 times the amount of sperm, and that only happens if your mind really believes you're having sex with someone new. So my clients would come back and go, oh my God, that was amazing. That was actually the best sex we ever had. It was so exciting and thrilling, and actually we got pregnant, and here's the baby. But we still do it. We still do that every week. I pretend he's the gardener, or I'm the cleaner, or I'm delivering the laundry. It really doesn't matter. It's exciting for the imagination. So think about what would excite you. It doesn't matter how crazy it is or silly it is, or it's not someone else's cup of tea. This is about your relationship with each other. What would excite you? What would thrill you? And if you're not sure, then take your mind back to the last time you watched a movie and something excited you, or you were reading a book and you think, oh, that's made me feel all aroused. And that will give you a great clue. But you know what? You can have a lot of fun finding out. So please don't think this means you've got to go down to the fancy dress shop and get a new outfit every week and keep getting into character. It's not about that. It's about how can you make sex exciting in your mind. Remember, intimacy is the enemy of eroticism. And just having sex in different parts of your house, which we all do when we're newly in love with someone, just changing positions, not always doing it in bed, in the dark, on a Friday night. There's many, many ways to put back what erotic sex requires, which is suspense, excitement, edginess, and most of all, newness. And that's the problem. We believe that the 2-year itch and the 7-year itch will make our partners run off for a new person. They don't want a new person. They want a new experience. Check out my next video here. Marilyn Monroe was such an example of someone who looked out there. She believed if I become rich and famous and beautiful, then surely I'll feel lovable. And I've seen many, many clients who say, but no one loves me. I can't find love.